Hi guys, it's Enrique again. How's it going? Right now, I'm gonna go over how to draw Earthworm Jim. Earthworm Jim to me was a Saturday morning cartoon, um, but originally Earthworm Jim was a video game that came out in 1994. Um, Basically, the kind of vague story behind him is he's a regular worm. He's a worm, and he has a super suit that makes him kind of a superhero. But so he's got a human body with a worm head, but he's still just a worm. Um, I'm gonna basically start out this drawing the same way I start out every drawing. I'm using Photoshop 6, CS6. I start out with vague shapes for placement and kind of what position he's gonna have. I'm really loose at the start, but I have a pretty clear image in my head, you know. And then I'm gonna go over it with more line, and I'm gonna try to straighten certain lines out and see where things are gonna go anatomically. He has a human body, so right now I'm putting in the darks, kind of dark values toward the bottom. I always put darker values toward the bottom, like the shadow and shade, because well, for one, it would be there, and the other reason is putting the darks toward the bottom of him would really ground him, you know, kind of like planting a tree. So he's going to be pretty solid, you know, if I put those darker shapes, because values have weight to them, and that's kind of the way I'm going to use them. So continuing to go in with the kind of this half tone around his body, going more over the muscle area. I'm putting his trapezius, which is the muscles in the back of his neck. I'm making those react the way it normally would, you know, if you make that pose. You know, he's pushing his shoulders down, he's grabbing his gun. So his shoulders are going to be up like that. Also makes it a little more dynamic when you kind of make that. You use certain shapes to their advantage. It's kind of like the trapezius, you know, all the way down to the hands. Kind of has this looping feel. I hope that makes kind of some sense. Right now I'm going into his eyeballs. Hopefully you can tell. By the way, you know, hopefully you can tell. If you don't know who this character is, I hope you can tell what's going on. He's got that skinny neck. I'm sorry, that skinny neck, that skinny head, and I'm trying to separate it from the back of his neck there. So I'm trying to figure out what value to push or pull. One of the biggest things I want to stress, and especially this, you know, in this video, is I want to stress the idea of having fun. If you're an artist. Chances are, if you're watching this, there's a really good chance you are an intermediate artist. Most guys are. A lot of people get to that level. A lot of people don't, as well. But in the beginning, drawing's fun. But when you tell yourself, "Hey, I want to do this as a career now," then it starts to become kind of hard, because now you're like, oh, now you're pressured to kind of go forward, you know, like now you're like, hey, I'm not getting it better anymore, what's going on? I mean, I didn't improve for a long time, so it's just the better you get at this, the harder it's going to be to improve. So I want you to remember one of the biggest things is you got to remember to have fun. You know, have fun with what you're doing. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Having fun is going to be what's going to carry you through your whole career as an artist, if you plan to do this as a career, or even in general. You know, if you want to do this as a hardcore hobby, or if you just want to do this as a regular hobby, you know, fun's going to carry you the whole way. And don't stress out, and don't overanalyze in the start. You know, have fun and then start analyzing afterward. In the beginning of this pose, I wasn't thinking at all. When I scribbled those hands in right there, I was just kind of doodling around. Now I'm getting a little more analytical on what's where, what muscle will react this way. Be you don't want to have analysis. I'm sorry, what's it called? You don't want to have paralysis by analysis, meaning you're overthinking and you don't even do anything. You know, you're just like, you know, don't be afraid. You're experimenting. You know, unless you're doing a commission, even, you know, this is just for fun. I'm experimenting here. I'm just trying to doodle around this character that I liked as a child. Man, I hope they make a new game of this guy. I would love to see something new from Earthworm Jim. If you have any Earthworm Jim knowledge, by the way, guys, I know there's a lot on the internet, but if you have like a fun fact on him, feel free to post it in the comments, because I'd love to know more about him, about, you know, things that happened to this character in the past that for some reason Wikipedia doesn't say. So, he has gloves, you know, so I gotta make that lower part a little darker than the rest. His suit is white, so everything's gonna be, I'm basing it off a white value. I'm sorry, a white color. I'm pushing the value accordingly, you know. Still going in, just straightening out, because I did the pose fairly quick. I mean, this is sped up for time's sake, but I did this very fast. You know, sometimes the faster things you do, you end up liking more. I'm not sure why that works out. Probably because you're not thinking as much. You're not overthinking. Continuing to go in, render things out. It's almost entirely this kind of rendering game I'm doing. I'm just kind of shading right here. Straightening out, shading, straightening out, shading. Because I think, for especially in this, that's his other hand wrapping around, you know, like when you grab a gun, you kind of wrap your one hand around the other. One of the reasons this one went so fast, because I had such a clear image in my head before I started. Like, super crystal clear. It's almost coming out very similar to the way I had it in my head, which, you know, hardly ever happens. You know, if you're an artist, you know how that feels. Usually you do sketches beforehand to kind of figure out your concept, and then you go with a final. For me, I didn't do any sketches at all. I just did this, and so a lot of times I end up liking my sketches more than the final, which is annoying, extremely annoying. He has this tie here. Also another thing, keep in mind when we're talking about composition of your page. One thing that I learned from Marshall Vandross, he's a great guy. He teaches anatomy classes, but I took a composition class from him. It was amazing. Is when you're looking at the overall picture, when I zoom out right there, for the figure and the rock that he's standing on right now, I want, if you think of it as a whole, I want the lightest stuff to be toward the top. You know, overall, like the upper shoulders and his head, those are going to be the lightest. Like, and then it's going to slowly gradate, meaning gradually get darker as it goes downward toward his feet. That's why the darks are toward the bottom, again, to root him. But there's some darks definitely in his mouth. But an overall picture, if you look at that figure and squint, the lightest overall would be at the top, shoulders. Because, but then that's the figure and the rock there. That's the front. The things in the foreground. The background is going to be the reverse. The sky behind him. It's going to be from the top to bottom. It's going to be a little darkerish on top, and it's going to go down and get really light to kind of have this counter shading. It makes pictures look better, and I'm not sure why that is, but it gives it this contrast. So again, if I zoom out, the background is going to be light. It's going to be very light toward the bottom in the background and kind of darkish toward the top. And the reverse is going to be for the figure. It's going to be darkish toward it's going to be lightish toward the top and then darkish toward the bottom. Remember, we're artists, you know. We got to band together and help each other out. Please, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. You know, like take pride in being an artist. I see a lot of guys not do that. You know, it's part of your identity. You're kind of like a superhero. You're doing something that, like, hardly anybody else in the world can do. You know, a very small percentage, you know, are you know, draw well. So see your pride. You're a superhero, kinda. You're like an X-Man. So just, learn to really be, if you're an artist, kind of flaunt it, but don't be, arrogant about it. All right, I'm continue to work. This is the end of part 1. This is the black and white version of it. I'm gonna have part 2 up very soon, and I'm gonna hook you up through it. And thanks a lot, guys. That was the black and white version of Earthworm Jim. Please share this video. I would love to keep doing these. Share this video maybe in the Earthworm Jim websites, or with friends, and please subscribe to my channel. It grows every day, and I really love doing stuff. Please ask questions. If you have any questions on what I'm doing, please let me know. I know half of what I'm talking about is just stories about stuff, but please ask me questions in the comments below. And thanks a lot.